Hey guys, I'm Chris Holt. Welcome back to another video. And today I'm going to talk about how COVID-19 and quarantine and all that has affected a lot of the big car YouTubers that you and I both watch. Now I'm going to go into depth about certain car YouTubers and what's been going on in their lives and kind of all what's going on throughout the car community. So not only is it going to be people who you guys watch, it's going to be people who I watch. People I've watched in the past and decided to stop watching, and so on and so forth. So if you guys like the idea of this video, make sure to stay tuned for the rest of it. Alright, so first person I'm going to talk about is Adam LZ. This dude has had a lot happening throughout his COVID-19 kind of thing. So he's in Florida, and obviously, I mean, knowing Florida, it's a little bit, or quite a bit less strict than just about anywhere else in the U.S. and the world in general. But he was, maybe this happened before quarantine, we're not really sure, he didn't give exact dates. But his Shelby GT350 caught on fire, blew up, kind of a lot of not good for that car. That car is obviously totaled, but it's really interesting to see kind of how it happened. He talked about the oil filter and how it kind of rattled out because it was a flat plane crank V8, which is just a really weird thing. And he said he had the last oil change done by the dealership, so he wasn't sure if it was a mechanical fault, because that had been addressed before, or if it was the dealership's fault. But basically, the whole front of his car went up in flames. He has a really good video on that, so if you haven't seen it, make sure to go to Adam LZ's channel and watch some of the videos. It's a long video, but definitely worth it. But yeah, that car burned to the ground, and it's funny because the first thing that he said, he wasn't driving at the time, but it was all caught on film, so it was kind of cool. The first thing he said is, oh, well, it'll make a good drift car, which I think that would be really cool to see. I mean, obviously in the Formula Drift scene, he's in Pro 2, but in the Pro 1, we have guys like Chelsea Denofa and Von Gittin Jr. running Mustangs and Justin Pollock running Mustangs. But they are, I think, running just GT Mustangs, obviously with totally built motors and all that. But it'll be really interesting seeing Adam LZ and, what if he decides to get that car again from auction and decide to make it into a drift car, what he ends up going with. Does he go with a, Coyote swap, or does he go with a huge 1JZ power that he just put in the E36 that he built? Does he put an RB26 that he runs in the R32 car? He's got so much stuff. He's got the SR20 in the 240. He's got in the S15. He's got a 2J. He's all over the board with JDM motors. Could this be a time where he goes LS and shows us an LS swapped drift Mustang? It'll be really interesting to see, because on Drift Week, which was something he did maybe a couple months ago, there was actually a 2JZ swapped Mustang, and it was getting a ton of attention. And, it was hauling around its tires for a whole week of drifting. So it'll be really, really interesting, in my opinion, and hopefully in your guys' opinion too, to see, if he decides to get that car again, what he ends up trying to do with it, and how he makes it unique. That's one thing I do really like about Adam LZ. He's got quite a few cars, and all of them are super unique. His S15 is this cool brown color, and that's his FD car, which is one of the cleanest ones out there. It's not scattered in decals and stuff like that. His S13, which is his halo car, as he put it through his garage tour, is it's cream and just very distinctly Adam LZ. Whenever you see a cream color, just about anything, you think of Adam LZ. And he just goes so different in his builds. The R32 is a 4-door R32. It's white with these cool like tear red graphics on the side and like red tinted windows. His R34 GTR is sick. Like, it'll just be really interesting to see because he does have kind of like the money behind him to see where he puts that car. So that's kind of what's happening with Adam LZ. Kind of a bummer, but it'll be super interesting to see what happens. Next up, I'm going to talk about Evan Shanks. This dude's probably my favorite YouTuber right now. Like, I'm not going to lie. I really love watching this guy. He's moving, he's having a baby, and he bought another car. He just is going crazy. So right now he's got a Civic build, like a twin turbo and parallel eBay turbo setup Civic. He's got an R35 GTR with, I think he says, about 600 horsepower. He's got, let's see, he's got an R33 with like a GTR kind of conversion on it. He's got a Supra, right-hand drive Supra, that he's bought a 2JZ like Japan and made it like super nice, or he's going to. Let's see, he's got a Chaser, which is pretty cool. He doesn't do enough content on that car. And a Tahoe, and he's just all over the board. Oh, he also has an LS350Z, which hasn't been featured on his channel in a while. That's kind of his drift car. He used to have an SC300 that was his drift car. Traded that for the Chaser. And then that's kind of how that went. He just got rid of, in a giveaway, his Evo 10 that he had built up, and I think 650 wheel horsepower or something like that. Evo 10, which was super cool. So he's got a lot of crazy stuff happening with the move and having kids. It'll be really interesting to see, because in his old house he was very limited on garage space, so it'll be interesting to see what his move is in this new house, if it's a bunch of garages or, you know, a bigger house, or what it is. Will be something totally interesting. Someone else I want to talk about, which is kind of funny, is the Stradman. If you go back and watch the 17-year-old drives a Bugatti in LaFerrari video, he kind of hints that he put a deposit down for a Bugatti Veyron, and then like goes back and says, "Oh no, I haven't done that. I haven't done that. I haven't done that." And it's funny because Life of Paulos calls him out, and he like apologizes again in his recent video, saying like, "Yeah, I wish, but no." So that's kind of cool. Also, he's got his Hellcat swap Jeep Gladiator that's lifted up a bunch and on 40s or 42s, just massive tires. And he sent that off, and it's just getting the third axle put on, so it's going to be a 6x6, which is super cool because he just reviewed the Hennessy Goliath 6x6 based on the Chevy Silverado. So it'll be really cool to see his Hellcat swapped 6x6. I know eventually down the line, you know, whenever Dodge, I guess, releases them, he's going to Elephant swap it, which will be super cool. I also think it would be really cool and probably unique if he could see if he could get like a manual transmission in there, just because it would be the world's first. Now I understand Jeep Gladiators haven't been 6x6 swapped yet. He's, you know, the first or one of the first, but we've seen Jeep 6x6 swaps, and we've seen, you know, the Mercedes AMG 6x6, the Hennessy Velociraptor, and now the Goliath, and I can't think of any of those that are manual. Maybe some of the like Jeep one-off 6x6 conversion ones are, but it would be really cool to see a big power manual 6x6 huge off-roader. So I think that would be really cool. He's also got his Lamborghini Gallardo, his manual 6-speed Gallardo in Chicago right now. I believe B-Road built, and he's getting a twin turbo swap on that, so I'm super excited to see how that turns out. And yeah, I don't know, it's crazy right now what's happening, and so yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this affects the car community as a whole. Guys, I'm not gonna lie, I'm actually proud of myself for getting that far on that last take. I know it wasn't the best, but whatever. Something else I'm gonna talk about, another channel, is gonna be like VinWiki. Their content is very different, or I should say Ed Bolian's content has been very different. And I almost like it, like, almost better than his normal stuff. I mean, obviously it's great to hear all the car stories, but you catch so much, and they all kind of seem to blend together. But it's cool when he does the, what car would you buy for this money? And shoots them out to a bunch of prominent people, I guess, in the car industry. You know, the thing that's maybe a flaw of that, in my opinion, would be the fact that it's like you can only get one car. So when it was $1 million budget, you know, it was just kind of difficult to say, oh, this is what I'm going to get being one car, when just about all of us are going to have, you know, maybe 1 to 3 supercars, and then a bunch of other, you know, sports cars or nice cars or this cars or that cars. And, you know, it really depends on everyone's taste, and it's cool to see the group of people that he interviews for that stuff and to see what they say. You know, it's interesting to hear the reoccurring cars and stuff that come up and all that. Yeah, just kind of cool. So I want you guys to let me know down in the comments any other YouTube channels, you know, car YouTube channels that I didn't talk about today that's like really doing a lot during quarantine, or having a lot happen, or changing up content a lot. Obviously I was going to talk about like Shmee, but you know, he's just on a Corona vacation with his new Mystic Blue Mercedes SLS AMG Black Series, which is cool. Definitely one of the top cars on my list ever, but you know, it's kind of hard, especially in some of the harder hit, you know, areas that they are like heavier on quarantine and stuff there. So yeah, let me know in the comments down below, like, some of the YouTube channels that you guys watch that I've, you know, missed out on in this video. Let me know. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. And I'm Chris Holt. Make sure to stay tuned for more videos. See you guys in the next one. Bye.